story about becoming an emerald, and I already heard it last night, and so y'all better lean in because it is really, really good. No pressure. Can we stand up here with you?
I mean, I think I'm okay. Thank you, though. It's fun fact. I was in this exact room a few years ago as a brand new Ruby, and I remember thinking, there is no way I am ever sitting in front of that room and talking to a bunch of people. And yet, here we go. So, yes, I'm going to share with you guys today how I went from almost quitting doing this to Emerald. So, if you'd have known me before Plexus, you probably would not have picked me as the person standing here today. I was not consistent. I did not follow through on things. I honestly didn't really work very hard. I was somebody who got very excited about something new, and then as soon as it got hard or boring, I would move on to something that seemed way more shiny and exciting and didn't require as much work. So I almost did the exact same thing here. So we will jump back to the summer of 2022. At that point, I was sitting between Senior Gold and Ruby Points. I had been there for well over a year. Was not growing, was kind of maintaining. I had one foot in the door for all of the fun parts and the community and the trips and the incentives, and then I had one foot out for anything that felt uncomfortable. Then I got pregnant. I got quite sick, extremely tired, and I had decided that I could justify having a lot of excuses. So I stopped getting on calls, stopped doing my IPA, stopped checking in with my customers. I let my business builders just figure things out on their own or lean in on my upline. Stopped doing personal growth, thinking about my why. Just like ultimately I stopped staying close to the fire. And the further that I drifted from that, and the less I thought about my why, the less and less I did, and eventually I just had completely checked out. Maybe you have been there too, where you're technically still in, but your heart's not really in it, or you don't really have a strong reason to grow or keep building. You're kind of showing up halfway in case something fun happens. I got to a point where I had to decide. I couldn't keep one foot in and one foot out. It was not fair to my team. It wasn't fair to my customers or my family or myself. I either needed to be in and someone that people could trust and they could count on, or I needed to just walk away. And honestly, at that time, walking away seemed like the best choice. But there was something in me that just kept whispering, like, why haven't you left yet? And what if you didn't quit? What if this time was different? What if you decided to get uncomfortable and work hard? Would it be worth it? And so I started asking myself again, why am I doing this? The truth was, I had a why that got me to Ruby. I wanted this community in my life. I wanted opportunities to travel more. I wanted more fun money for me and my family. But that wasn't big enough to move me forward and to get me to take ownership of my business and consistently work. For me personally, the money and the trips just weren't enough. I mean, I wanted to earn more money. I love to be able to give more and take some of that weight off my husband's back, but for me personally, it wasn't enough to get me to sit down and do the work on the days I didn't feel like doing it. And so after lots of digging and lots of questions and just getting really honest with myself, I realized what I really wanted was to set an example for my girls. I did not want to be someone who didn't work hard. I didn't want to be someone who was flaky and moving on to new things all the time. I wanted to be someone who they could look up to because I was willing to do hard things. I love being a stay-at-home mom. It is my absolute favorite title. But listen, I personally was not okay with them growing up and saying, like, yeah, my dad was really successful. He ran these businesses and he did all of these things, and my mom was just home with us. I wanted them to see me as someone who, yes, prioritized them and my family, but also kept growing and learning and working hard, someone who lifted people up, who just like made an impact outside of my home. So my real why was impact and setting that example for my girls of when you choose to dream and work really hard, that really big things can happen. So I got uncomfortable. I chose to dig in, work harder than I ever had before, and then I could help other women feel their best, help them to not stress about groceries or birthday presents or family trips, help other women dream again and accomplish goals outside of being moms. I wanted to be able to help them feel peace and possibility again. And by doing that, my girls could see me as someone who kept showing up, someone who didn't stop when things got hard, who accomplished personal goals, who had dreams and went after them, someone who just used the gifts that God gave me to make a difference and have impact. And hopefully, because they see me do this, they too will use their gifts and work towards their dreams. You guys, I truly believe if God gives you strengths and opportunities, He's calling you to steward them well. Not halfway, not when it's convenient, not when it's easy and comfortable, but fully. So if you are telling yourself that you are stuck or just unmotivated, it's very likely not that you're lazy or unqualified. It's probably because you are unclear on your true why, and only you can take ownership of that. Without clarity, you will not have the fuel to push through discomfort, to take critical feedback, or to stay disciplined. And remember, your why, you guys, has to be yours. It can't be mine. It can't be like what you think it should be. It has to be like really, really strong and true to you. So once I connected my true why and decided to put both feet back in, I had to take ownership. I think it's interesting. Every single person that's talked today has mentioned ownership. So I had to own that I was not taking great care of my customers. I had to own I was not checking in with my business builders. I was not leading myself the way I wanted my team to lead. And I had to own that my business was not growing because I was not growing. Which was humbling because it required a lot of honesty. It was also really empowering though, because it meant that like I could change it. Same way you guys can change it. So what that actually looked like, what I actually did, I apologized to my customers and my business builders for not serving them well. I started asking for feedback from the leaders above me, and not just to check a box. I actually did what they said I should do, even when it felt extremely uncomfortable and went against everything that I felt like doing. If you guys want to move forward in your business, you have to stop waiting for someone else to drag you. There's no one that's going to do that. You have to go and ask for help. You have to apply the feedback, and you have to dig into personal growth, do your IPA, and again, just take ownership of your business. So, my last points. In regard to discipline, you don't just wake up one morning and suddenly become disciplined. You become disciplined when your why is stronger than your excuses. And every time I showed up on a day I didn't feel like it, I grew more and more proud of myself. That pride built belief, and the belief built consistency. And the consistency is what built the momentum all the way to my Emerald rank up in June. But I do want to be really clear on something. Getting to Emerald was not easy. Knowing my why and deciding to take ownership didn't make this easy. But because I knew it would be worth it, I was willing to go through the hard for the first time ever in my life. There were nights I was up way too late, finishing messages or planning out my week or thinking about how I could best support my team and help them reach their goals. And honestly, a lot of those nights I would have much rather just went to bed or cuddled on the couch with my husband. I have not watched TV shows in well over a year and a half. I've said no to things that sounded fun in the moment because they just didn't align with my why or where I wanted to go. And that's what ownership and discipline look like in real life. It's sacrificing some things now to get what you actually want later. And that it builds character, it builds results that you can be really proud of. So yes, it was super hard, but it's been worth every bit of it. Because I chose not to quit, and I chose to work hard and grow, I have 4 women here with me today. And I have been able to impact people outside of my home. As a Jewel, I got to take my family on an Alaskan cruise this year. Standing there with my girls, watching the glaciers, looking at the whales, I realized that was the first trip that we had ever been on that my husband did not pay for. And it was because I chose, again, to just work hard at something and not move on to the next new shiny thing. Because you guys, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not going to remember what TV shows I skipped. And I'm not going to remember the coffee date that I said no to. I am going to remember, though, how these products changed lives and how women found hope again and energy again. I will remember that trip to Alaska forever. It was proof to my girls and to me that when you're willing to work hard and help people and serve, God can bless you beyond what you ever imagined. So, if you take anything from my story, your why matters. I know you have heard this a million times, but truly without it, you're not going to go and ask for feedback. You're not going to take ownership of your business, and you won't do things scared. You won't stay disciplined and be consistent and show up with the right energy and excitement. You'll just keep waiting to feel ready, and you're going to continue to stay stuck. So, my challenge to you is to go home from this trip and get crystal clear on your why, extremely detailed. How's it going to feel? What struggles will come up for you if you don't keep going for it? Are you okay with your life being the exact same in 5 years? And what do you want your kids to think about you in 20 years? I would encourage you to write it down, pray over it, and then combine that clarity with ownership and discipline so that you can lead yourself well and become a person you're really proud of. Because then from there you can inspire others to do the same thing, and that is how you will create impact and achieve Jewel ranks.